Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode on J of All Trades. Today I'm standing in my backyard and I've got a tent set up right behind me here, and this tent is by a company called Quictent. Now I want to show you guys step by step how to put this tent together and also show you some additional features that it has. Now here you can see that it has a very high peak at the top, and this gives you added airflow as well as allowing you to put some lights much higher, which gives you a different vibe and a different feel. So if you're looking for something that's durable, if you're looking for something that's large, because this is a 20 by 20 foot tent, then this might be the tent for you. So if you have a birthday party, if you have a graduation celebration, whatever it is, you can probably use this tent for that event. So let's begin and I'll show you exactly how to set this thing up. Now keep in mind, you're gonna need a second person to put this thing together because for one, it's very heavy, and two, it's very large. Now for this particular 20 by 20 tent, it comes with 5 different boxes. Now this is the high peak version and the model number is PT1510. And on the boxes, they are numbered here. So this is 2 out of 5 and this one here is 1 out of 5. One thing you'll notice is that this comes packaged very well. So you'll need a knife or a box cutter to open up the boxes. So in box 1, one thing I'm greeted with is the manual, and you'll also find the roof of the tent in this box. Now here you can see that it's labeled roof, and later on I'll give you some information about the material of this roof. Now I'm going to open up box 2 of 5. In this box I see some foot bases right away, and these are the foot bases right here. And here I also notice a package of hardware, so you want to put that to the side. And here I also see some metal stakes. There's also a few 4-way connectors down there that I see in the box. And one thing you're going to notice right away is that each part is labeled with a number, so that's going to be very helpful when putting this together. Here in this box as well, you're going to find a top 4-way connector, and this is number 6, and this is going to be at the center at the top of the tent. So let's get the other 3 boxes opened here. In these other 3 boxes, you're going to see multiple poles of different lengths in here, and this is to build out the frame of this tent. Here again, all these poles have a number on them, so that's very helpful. After opening up all 3 boxes, these 2 boxes just have number 2 poles in them, and here you can see for these 2 boxes they're all numbered number 2. In this box over here you're going to notice a handle, and that you can use to adjust the cover after the tent is installed. So let's take a look at the hardware that comes with this. It comes with these M8 by 65 screw and nut, and these have little knobs on them, so it's easy to tighten this nut on the screw. It also comes with these gloves right here, and this is a plastic top cap. Then you have these 4 pairs of ratchet and webbing, and these are great for securing things down. And then we have these M10 by 100 millimeter expansion bolts. So now it's time to assemble the roof frame. So first you're going to lay out the frame, and you're going to use 4 number 1s, and these are steel poles. Then you're going to grab 8 number 2s, and they look like this. Then you're going to grab 4 3-way corner connectors, and they basically have these little hooks on them at the end, and these are number 5s. I began by laying out the shape of the frame, and between each 3-way corner connector you're going to have 2 number 2s and 1 number 1. So you're going to end up with 3 poles in between each corner connector. When I started laying out these pieces, I began to see how big this 20 by 20 tent actually is, and I had to actually readjust my distancing here so I can have more space to put out the pieces, because it's very easy to underestimate the actual size of this tent. Here again, you can see me adjusting the spacing again because I needed more space, and I moved all the pieces back even further just so I can have enough space to lay out all the pieces. One thing that I noticed while lifting these steel poles is that they feel very heavy duty. Now these are galvanized steel poles. That means they have a protective zinc layer to prevent rust and corrosion, so that's really good to know. Here is a look at how everything is laid out here, so you can see exactly how it needs to be assembled. And again, there's 3 poles in between each 3-way connector, so keep that in mind. We're going to be connecting each pole with screws and nuts, and you're going to use the M8x65s to connect the joints. Now here, I'm going to be using a screw gun, and this will help me to speed up the process, but you could also use the tool that was provided, or if you have really strong fingers, you can actually get away with tightening this up by hand as well. And in most cases, I actually tightened it up by hand. In order to connect these joints, you're going to slip this into the connector here, and you're going to line the holes up of the pole with the connector. Then you're going to pass a screw from the top down and then secure it with the nut. Now you're going to do this from the top down because you want the nut to be at the bottom. Then you can tighten and move on to the next pieces. Now here you can see I'm tightening with my fingers, and then if you're not too sure, you can actually use the gun or you can use the tool. Now we'll keep working our way all the way around until all these pieces are connected together using these screw and nuts. Here's a quick tip. If for some reason something feels a little tight and you can't get it on there, you can just simply use a rubber mallet, and once the holes are lined up, you can continue using your screw and nut. Here you can see the orientation of this 3-way connector clearly, and each corner needs to be positioned in this way in order for this to work correctly. Once you've gotten all the joints connected together, this is how it should look. And this is going to be the entire perimeter of the roof frame. Next, we're going to form the inclined planes with the poles, number 2 and number 3. Here I laid out 8 number 2s, and these are the longer poles, and I laid out 4 number 3s. So here you can see this is marked number 2, and this other one is marked number 2 as well, and the shorter pole is the number 3. And then finally, you're going to be hooking up that number 3 to this number 6, and this is the top 4-way connector. So once again, each corner will have 2 number 2s and 1 number 3 going into that 4-way connector. And over here to my left, I have a 6-foot ladder that will help me to do the top part of that 4-way connector later on. And from now on, you're going to need a second person to give you a hand to assemble this. So my beautiful wife will help me to assemble. Now here, I'm going to start with a number 2 at this corner to start the incline, and I'll secure it with the nut and bolt, and I'll go all the way around each corner and do the same thing. Once all 4 corners have a number 2 pole, we're now going to add a second number 2 pole to that one. And we're going to go all the way around to the 4 corners until each corner has 2 number 2 poles in them. Once all of these 4 pieces are on, we're ready to put on the shorter pole, which is the number 3s. And we're going to put all 4 of them on each corner. Here is a look at how this looks so far, and even though it looks like they might be too long, they actually need to go upwards and connect to the 4-way connector that's on the ground here. And so we're going to connect each end to that 4-way connector, and we're going to put this upwards so it can have the right incline. For this part, I set up the 6-foot ladder to help me put this connector on. And here, I'm going to be basically putting this connector on one end first, and then securing it, and then I'll connect each of the other ends into this connector. One thing that I do have to point out is that you really want to be careful when you're doing this part, because you're going to notice that in one of these parts, that pole almost hit my wife in the head, and thankfully it didn't, but you just want to watch out for things like that. And here I'm using a rubber mallet to lightly tap on it to get those poles to slide in where they needed to be. And then I secured them with the nut and the bolts. In this part, I'm using the screw gun to ensure that this is going to be tight enough because you want this part to be very strong. Here's a better look at the roof frame, and this entire roof frame is starting to take shape. Now it's time to install the middle adjustable long screw. And for this part, make sure you have this top cap along with this M5 by 10 millimeter screw at the top here. And this is basically going to be screwed into the top of this. But before we do that, we need to pass this through the four-way connector here. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove this big nut that's around this middle adjustable long screw here. And we're going to pass this in this hole that's in the center of this four-way connector. We're going to hold it in place. We're going to drop that big nut right on top. But before we secure it, we're going to put this top cap on there, and we're going to secure that screw with the top cap into this pole here. The reason why I'm securing this top cap here now is because it'll be very difficult to reach once we secure this piece into the four-way connector. So here you can see the top cap went all the way up there, and now I'm going to screw this piece into this four-way connector. As you can see, I'm screwing this nut now in here to secure this at the top, and now you're going to tighten that with an adjustable wrench and you'll be all set to go. Here's a little closer look of the middle adjustable long screw that's screwed into this four-way connector here. Now we're ready to put this roof cover on this roof frame. One thing I must point out is that this roof cover is very heavy. It feels really solid and very sturdy. You'll definitely need a second person to help you open this up. Once you get most of it opened up, you can start walking it over to the frame. But before doing that, you want to make sure that you have a good idea of where the center is, and then you'll be able to manipulate it over the frame. In this case, the center is very obvious once you start opening it up because it has a pointed top. And once you see that pointed top, you'll be able to start pulling this over the frame. Here you're going to notice again why you need the 6-foot ladder here, and that's because I'm going to be manipulating this entire cover over the top cap here until I get that center dropped right on that top cap. So here again, I'm just pulling it over slowly, and I'm not forcing anything here. I'm simply just slowly working it over, and then once I get the tip over the top cap, then I can start with the corners. Here, I'm now dropping the center right on the top cap there, and now I'm able to spread everything out a little bit better on the sides. Now we're going to secure the roof cover to the roof frame by using the built-in buckles. When I first did this, I noticed that the buckle part of it was not connected to any of the straps. So what I did was I removed the clip first, then I weaved the strap through the clip, and then I secured this to the frame. So first you pass the strap through and you pass it back into the other loop here, and now you're able to snap this into the other side. For this part, I recommend at least 2 people to start from the opposite sides at the same time, or it will get a lot harder and harder throughout this process. You're going to go all the way around the entire frame, and you're going to continue to do this until all of them are done. The corners are going to be left alone because once we get it raised, then we'll be able to do the corners. Here's a closer look at how this should be at the sides of the tent. Now we've gotten all the buckles in place and we've got the center in place, and we're ready to lift this tent up and put some legs on it. For this part, we're going to use 4 number 4 poles and 4 number 7 foot bases. We'll start by attaching these poles to these foot bases. Here on the poles, you're going to notice that there are 2 sets of holes here. So this hole is for the ratchet strap, and this is to secure the foot base. So you want the foot bases to be on that side. Now here, the side that goes to the top is only going to have 1 set of holes here. So for example, this foot base here is going to go to this side that has the 2 sets of holes. And we're simply going to look for the ratchet strap hole there, and that's how we're going to know that this needs to go on this side of the pole. Then we're just going to line this up, and we're going to use our nut and bolt once again here and secure this in place. Now we're going to secure all the rest of the foot bases in the same way. Once all 4 foot bases are on, we're ready to put these poles on the tent. Now be careful when you're lifting the tent, because you want to make sure that you have a second person to put the pole in while the other person holds the tent up. Right now, you just want to focus on getting those poles into position. You don't want to start securing them yet. Now, while I was doing this, I actually got a bit tired and I decided that I needed to take a rest. And so I had my wife put down the pole and put the ladder in place. And then I simply just rested this side on the ladder for a little bit, and then she came back and we completed the last pole. I've got to say, this is a durable and heavy tent. Now that all the poles are in place, now we can secure them with the nut and bolt. Here you can see that I had to lift up a little bit for the holes to align, and then once they were aligned, I was able to tighten everything up. Now that we've gotten the poles secured in place, I'm going to put everything even and straight so we can secure these legs to the ground. Now this kit comes with 8 300mm L-type pegs, and they basically go straight into these holes and they secure these legs down to the ground. Now since there are only 8, that means you can only put 2 at each leg. Now I have a recommendation of actually using water bags or sandbags to weigh down these legs, so I'll show you exactly how I'll do that later on in this video. Now here, I still recommend you using the pegs along with the water bags, because at the end of the day, that'll give you extra peace of mind. Now in the event that you need to secure those legs to concrete, they do come with M10 by 100mm expansion bolts, and this will go directly into the concrete, so you do have that option here as well. Now we're ready to secure the corners of this roof cover. And here on this roof cover, there is a built-in strap here that you just basically pull down over this hook that's on this 3-way connector here. And this will ensure that this corner stays in place and it doesn't move out of the way. Now it's time to use the ratchet and webbing. And here we have this ratchet piece here that hooks up to the hole in the bottom that I showed you guys earlier. And this is why this hole needs to be in the bottom. And so you'll basically hook this here on that hole, and you'll leave the ratchet piece here. And we're gonna take this strap and we're gonna weave it through these 2 spots here on the corner. Now I'm gonna put a foot or a foot and a half length here and wrap it around, and then tie it to this strap that is dropping from the top there. And I'm just gonna basically put a tie here to secure it, and this will prevent it from moving. This is actually my first attempt at doing this, but once you do this a couple times, it's pretty straightforward. Here you're gonna see that as I put tension on this, it pulls the corners down, and that's exactly what we wanna see. And now we're gonna take this strap straight down and we're gonna put it into this ratchet. And the thing about this ratchet is you really want the wheel to have the slot facing you. So you're gonna pull up on this piece here and you'll be able to turn this wheel in here. And this will allow you to pass the strap through. Now pay attention to your strap positioning because you want that to be straight. You come through the middle here of the wheel, and then you loop into the top of the wheel here, and you pull this strap all the way up. And you pull it enough so it feels a little tight, but you don't want to go too tight. You just want to give it a little bit of tension. and then you're gonna now start ratcheting. Now in order to move the ratchet, you're gonna need to unlock it by just simply pulling up on these two corners here. Here on one side and here on the other side, you're gonna notice a lock. So you're just gonna slide that up and you'll be able to ratchet. And you start ratcheting this and it's gonna start getting tighter and tighter. And keep in mind, you don't wanna over tighten this. You just wanna tighten enough so everything is nice and tight, and this is not gonna be going anywhere. And as you can see here at the top, where the cover meets the pole, everything is pulled down and it's nice and snug and tight. And that's exactly what you want to see. Now you can secure the excess strap at the bottom, and you simply just wrap it around here and keep it out of the way. Here again, you're just going to repeat this process on all the other legs. And here you're going to put your ratchet piece here straight through the hole on this leg, and you're going to leave it there. Then you're gonna take this strap here that's built into the cover, pull it down over this hook here, and that's gonna ensure that that doesn't go anywhere. And then you're gonna take your strap, you're gonna weave it through both sides of these corners here. You're gonna take about 1 foot to 1.5 feet, and you're gonna wrap it around the back there, and then you're gonna tie it to this piece and secure it so it doesn't move. And then now when you put tension on this piece, it's gonna start tugging down on those corners and make it nice and tight. And here you're gonna take this straight down to the ratchet part, and you're gonna make sure that this is straightened out. Put it through the hole there on the wheel, pull it through, and then you're gonna weave it through the top of that wheel, pull it up, and make sure it's nice, tight, and in place. And now you're gonna pull the two corners up of this to be able to ratchet. And now you're able to ratchet this and get it tighter and tighter. Once it gets nice and tight, you can now put the excess strap all the way around here, and you're all set to go with this. Once you've finished with all the corners, you can take a look at these built-in buckles. And if they have any play in them, you can actually tighten them up. As you can see, this one is a little bit loose. You can just tug on this a little bit and it'll tighten it up for you. One of the things you can do is that you can actually hold the corner of that cover while you're tightening it up, and that'll help to straighten everything out. Here again, you see I'm pulling on the corner, and then I'll pull on the buckle strap, and that tightens it up. And this is gonna make everything look nice and neat. And as you can see, this one is very loose. And what we're gonna do again, we're gonna pull on this buckle strap here. And once that's complete, our entire tent is fully assembled. Now, if you really like this tent and you'd like to pick it up, I'll include a link in the description for you guys so you can go out there and check it out. Now, let's talk about some features of this tent. Now, when I first started out this video, I first started talking about one of my favorite features of this tent, which is the peak in the center. I briefly talked about airflow and also being able to put lights higher, but having a tent like this also gives you superior structural stability, and it also avoids having supports at the center of the tent, which could be an annoying obstruction when you're having an event. This look is also aesthetically pleasing. It looks more spacious and elegant as well. This also has a heavy-duty adjustable frame design. It's designed to withstand winds of up to 25 miles an hour. You can also fit about 80 or more guests under this tent. Another thing that I really like about this is that it's really secure with these straps here. I really like these ratchet straps that bring tension on this cover, and it also allows you some spots here where you can also tie down at these corners, as you can see. This roof cover is also extra thick at 620 GSM, and it is commercial grade PVC material. So it's great waterproofing, durability, and it's got a CPAI 84 fire retardant rating, which is great for fires. Another thing that I really liked about this tent is that it was fairly simple to set up. Everything was pretty straightforward as to where it needed to go, and overall, I found it easy to frame it out. Now, this is something that does not come with this tent set, but I like to talk about it. I use these water bags here, and I'm gonna include a link in the description for you guys if you'd like to go check these out. But basically, at each leg, what you're gonna do is you're gonna attach this bag around the bottom of the leg here, and you're gonna use each of these Velcro straps to attach it to this leg. Then you're going to open up the top of this here, and you're going to use a garden hose and fill it with water until it's full all the way up to the top. Now, each of these bags are going to be 50 pounds each. That means you're going to have an additional 200 pounds holding down the legs of this tent, along with the weight of the tent itself. So this tent is not going to go anywhere. You simply close this up and you're all set to go. And these even have a built-in handle so you can carry it over to somewhere else if you need to. All right, guys, well, this concludes my review and my setup for this tent. I hope this video has been valuable to you. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so you can continue to get more videos like this one. And I'll see you guys on the next one.